everyone, and welcome to another installment of TEDXcellence, the show in which we find out what the true role of teachers are in our lives. Apparently, in the role of Cyrano de Bergerac. And I come to you live from my Corona bunker on the moon with Dog Cat Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday. I don't know. What's a good W word for a Wednesday? Something wonderful Wednesday. I'm sure I've used that before. Regardless, I'm boring like that. But yes, hello, everyone. I have got a treat for you today in the sense that I actually read part of the description of the video and not just the title, because the title caught my attention. The description got my curiosity. Yes, teaching relationships in school. Sounds vaguely mundane, I suppose, until you read the description of the original video, which talks about love. And in that sense, I'm kind of like, is that really a teacher's place? And by what do you mean love? So we're going to look at that today. We'll listen to our speaker explain to us what she means, and maybe we'll learn something or be creeped out. I'm not sure. Either way, it'll be an adventure. But until we get there, who's joining me on this wonderful journey of romance and intimacy? Why, that would be Zalbla, hello. Cody Bassett, hello. Matt Barnes, hello. Jaeger Pony, hello. That one Servant of Satania, hello. Keenan, hello. John Miller, hello. Asian Hippie, hello. St. Michael, hello. Keeverdam, hello. Revenindix, hello. And then, of course, chat jumps because, of course, it does. Black Belt for Christ, hello. Somnamnum Nation, hello. Gulf City Peterbilt Confederacy 379, hello. Check Your Logic, hello. A Scanner Daftly, hello. King of the North, hello. Zeke Weiss, hello. Emperor W.R. Costin, hello. Dragon Mage, hello. Colt Fox, hello. Saxon Ross, hello. Corey Suzuki, hello. Gulf City Johnny Blaze, hello. Zero the Hero 909, hello. Catherine H, hello. Evil One, hello. Dina B, hello. Brutus, hello. Shady Grin, hello. Dark Alile, hello. Advocatus Diaboli, hello. Havoc Vladimirovich Stalinov, hello. Bookworm, hello. Tom of Loxley, hello. What's his face McWhatnot, hello. Mr. E, hello. Mike Savage, Blarg. Becca Fairley, hello. And Killer Turnus, hello. And then chat jumped again. Thrashy, hello. Blitz Zero, hello. Sturmalder, hello. Sturmalder? Sturmalder. All right, everyone. So now we're going to move on to the wonderful world of sound test, and we will begin. I'll play a few seconds. Have your bingo cards ready. I'll be surprised if we get a bingo on this one. This one seems very generalized and or very specific. It can be both for a TEDx talk. So we might not get to a bingo, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. So, as always, here's a few seconds for sound test. Let me know if you guys can hear it, and then we will begin in full.
The day I got an offer for my first job after college in management consulting, a good friend told me.
Okay, first off, this is as good as I could make the sound quality for this video. I had the background noise to this was actually ridiculous before I fixed the audio a bit. So I did my best. If it sounds a little echoey, I couldn't do anything about that part, but it's definitely better than it was. Anyway, she got her consulting job out of college. Okay. And she's situated sideways to the camera. Interesting. All right. Sounds good, says St. Michael. It's good enough, says Zalbla. Oh, well, geez, if it's good enough. Okay, so I'm going to back up a little bit. Are you a teacher or are you a consultant? Because this was talking about schools and such.
The day I got an offer for my first job after college in management consulting, a good friend told me, "Girl, you're done.
Girl!
The hardest part is getting the job." That got me really excited.
I can tell it got you excited. Because you're on a TEDXcellence. Thank you. This is Kyle. Hello, chat people and scribbles. So her first job out of college was management consulting. Okay. it must be a long and winding road to teaching relationships in schools.
But I also heard this anxious voice speaking inside my head.
Oh.
That voice
Yes.
is my inner critic, who I call Nancy.
Please tell me, Nancy the critic llama. All right, well, is Nancy going to start talking to us? I want to hear from Nancy. Nancy the talking llama. The critic llama, apologies. Okay, Nancy. What do you have to say?
And Nancy kept telling me, "Psh, Renata,
You took off her ears.
I don't think you should be that excited. You have 0 consulting skills."
I mean, points for entertainment value. I don't think I've yet seen a TEDXcellence speaker talk to themselves or reveal to us their inner multiple personality situation. So, all right, negative Nancy, the earless hand llama.
Nancy was right, but she calmed down once I got to work on that skill set. A couple years ago, though, when I started a new relationship, I had a strangely similar experience.
A strangely similar experience when you revealed Nancy to your new boyfriend? It's like, I have something to tell you. We're not alone in here. Huh? But that was exciting.
My friends were saying things like,
Wait. Do you mean your real life friends or the friends that come to you in the form of hand puppets?
"You're done. The hardest part is finding the right person."
Oh boy. And then what character came out of the woodwork to correct you on that one? Was it Casanova the talking foot?
But Nancy did not like that at all.
Oh no. Did Nancy get a knife?
Renata, what do you know about relationships? Clearly, not much, because so far, 100% of them have failed.
I can't. I don't know if I can do this.
Ouch, Nancy, that hurt. But
yeah,
she was right.
Yeah.
What did I know?
I don't know what you know. I know what I know, and you need a rubber room.
And this time, I wasn't even sure what and how to learn. So I started thinking, am I the only one struggling with this?
With talking from your hand? No, you're not the only one struggling with that. I'm pretty sure.
What do other people think about this? So I want to ask you.
You're going to ask me? Oh, okay. Ask me what?
Wherever you are right now.
Yes.
Raise your hand
Yes.
if you think that love is a really important part of life.
Do I think that love is a really important part of life? No. Love is the bane of my existence. It is an anathema to all that I stand for. Yes, of course, everybody who's not a complete psychopath thinks that love is an important part of life. You're not going to go do any kind of presentation or speech or stand in front of an audience and not get an overwhelming majority of people going, yes, I think love is the most important thing in life. Maybe I should have a square on the card like I don't know, softball icebreaker question or something. Something like that. We see a lot of those. I don't know what I'd switch it out with, but maybe. Thank you, Gamer Valine. It was Nancy that murdered the exes and buried the bodies. Yes, it's like, so tell me, Renata, why did you kill Philip? It wasn't me. It was Nancy. Wasn't it, Nancy? Yes, it was. Oh my God.
Don't be shy. No one can actually see you.
No one can actually see. Oh, see me? Oh, well, I guess that's true. I don't have a camera on me. And besides which, why would I be shy in admitting that I think love is an important part of life? That would make me, I don't know, like possibly a normal human being.
Great. Now, raise your hand if you feel really well educated on how to love.
Well, I mean, am I well educated on how to love? Well, I do have beside me here Screw the Roses, Send Me the Thorns, The Romance and Sexual Sorcery of Sadomasochism, a large and detailed book that has all types of advice and diagrams and all types of references and ideas and suggestions. It's 270 it's 280 pages of educational goodness. But I don't know. What do you mean by how to love? Please tell me.
If you don't have your hand up right now, I can guarantee that you're not alone.
I don't know what you mean. Here's the thing, and I've learned this the hard way several times in my life. What one person says is love may not be the same kind of love that someone else considers it to be. For example, I don't know where I'm pulling this example from exactly. I'm sure it's completely not relevant or at all something that I went through. When someone said they loved me, but their definition of love was very distributive amongst several people, but I didn't understand that. And I took it to mean that they loved me. Yeah. So one person's love is not necessarily another person's love. So until you define what you mean by love, I'm not sure how to answer that question, because I don't want to get you into a false sense of security over my understanding or vice versa. Thank you, Shrouded Angel. Hey, you from the athletic pair. Thank you, Shrouded Angel.
I also asked my amazing classmates in business school at Stanford. And
Stanford? And that's where I'd play the dramatic squirrel music if I had it plugged in, but I don't. So I have a long and storied history with Stanford University. You can find a playlist on my channel called A Stanford Education. I may have to add this one to it now. Okay, you talk to your classmates at Stanford. Then what?
In business school at Stanford. And every single person thought that love was a really important part of life.
Wow, what a revelation.
But not a single person felt educated on how to succeed.
What? Define success. Define love in this iteration. What do you mean, succeed in love? I think I've succeeded in love many times. I've fallen in love. I have felt love. I knew I was in love. They don't always work out. You know, no matter how hard you may love someone, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to become a lifelong relationship or something. So I've succeeded and I've failed. I don't think that the one necessarily countermands the other. But I don't know what you mean, so I can't say. Thank you, Mr. Tickletrunk. Love is just a word, and other deepities brought to you by recreational drugs. Thank you. And Gamer Valine, thank you so much. Was it her or Nancy talking? I don't know. That is going to be the greatest mystery of this. Whenever she has an interaction with another person, whether her hand Muppet is up or not, is it Renata or is it Nancy talking? We'll have to suss it out together. Play, I said.
Which is interesting because in business school, we pride ourselves on being so educated and so strategic in everything we do.
Yeah, but business and love are two different things unless you are a brothel owner.
Except for relationships.
Okay, relationships don't necessarily involve love. What are you talking about? You have to define your terms. You really, really, really need to define your terms here, especially when you're talking about such ridiculously common abstractions like love and quote-unquote relationships.
And let's think about that for a second.
I am.
If I was looking for a new job, in the same way that we often look for a new relationship.
Do we though?
I would probably just pull out my phone, swipe through a few photos, And if I saw something promising, like a attractive office only 2 miles away, then maybe I would think that that could be the one.
You know, I think this is a generational thing, and I can't believe I'm saying that because it makes me feel so freaking old. Um, that's not how I look for jobs. I mean, obviously, there are a lot of tools available today that weren't available when I was younger looking for jobs and such, but there's actually a certain level of shoe leather, as they say, that I think of when looking for a job. And likewise, because of my less than stellar experiences using online dating and such, I still think there's a lot more to be said about shoe leather when looking for a relationship. But she looks at it like ordering something off of a menu, which again might just be a generational thing, but all the same. Thank you again, Gamer Valine. Shame her fun side has a boring name and her boring side has the fun name. At least it's a good cover for all the murder and stalking. And thank you, John Miller. New job via Tinder sounds like an escort service. Well, she's making a compare contrast of processes, so I'll give her that for the visual gimmick, but yeah, she really needs to start explaining herself because she's not making much sense. Mr. Tickle Trunk, thank you again. Leather on your shoes. Man, you really are old. Or I have a sense of style.
But that would be really weird.
Yeah, wouldn't it though?
Because we invest so much time in our professional lives.
Do we?
We spend years building our knowledge, our skills, our network.
Uh-huh.
That's a pretty solid foundation. But when it comes to relationships, which overwhelming research point as a top predictor of life satisfaction, health, and wealth, our foundation is more like a flimsy house of cards.
House of Cards? Oh no, here comes Kevin Spacey. For those of you listening at home, she has a diagram up which depicts a silhouette of a very strong column-like structure like you'd see in front of a fancy house or sort of a Roman kind of deal. And it says professional goals, and it has 3 pillars: years of expertise building, years of skill building, years of network building, and then the foundation of years of foundational skills, reading, writing, math, etc. And then beside it, you have a literal house of cards diagram where the tippy top thing, which is supposedly the roof of the other building, relationship goals built upon TV, movies, and songs, parents and friends' stories. Well, where else do we learn about romance? Where else do we get an idea of relationships, healthy or otherwise? From the people that we know, from the stories that we hear, from examples in the world, and so on. Is that really a house of cards? Is that really flimsy? Like, my parents' relationship, as far as I'm concerned, is sort of something I would aspire to. Okay? And I've told this story before, but I'll tell it really, really quick. My parents got married. They attempted to have children, but they went through 3 different miscarriages over the course of 10 years. And they saw through each one of those tragedies together as a couple. And by the time the 3rd one happened, they figured they couldn't have kids. But then 10 years after they were married, I came along. And then a year later, my sister came along, and they were like, okay, that's it. But here's the thing. Their relationship had been put to the test over and over again in the kind of emotional turmoil I can only imagine, but don't really want to. But by the time I came along, their relationship was so tested and assured that there really never was any question as to whether or not they were going to be a couple or whether or not they could get through the trials and tribulations of life. Now, obviously, I don't hope that I go through a situation like they do to test my relationship, if and when I find a good one. But all the same, their ability to see through those kind of things together and still remain a couple and productive and good parents is a role model to me. Now, I don't think that that's a house of cards. But then again, I don't know what our speaker's talking about because she hasn't defined anything yet. Thank you, Gamer Valine, again. I want to make friends with her just to break her. Oh, jeez. Well, what kind of person are you? Gamer Valine, do you have a hand puppet? Does it have a name? Or are you the hand puppet? Thank you again, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Before selfie filters and swiping left on thousands of profiles, we used to have realistic expectations. Cards? I'm building with bricks, thank you. Ooh. Nice rejoinder.
We basically learn by watching others.
Mm-hmm.
We look at the couples around us.
Yeah.
We watch what they do right and wrong.
Yeah.
And we assume we know how to do it right.
No, not necessarily. We might see that as an example or something that we hope for or wish for. We assume. Okay, well, speaking of which, let's go to the bingo card. I'm going to be circling as soon as I get my little circle thing here ready. Sorry about that. Free space. Let's see. And mind reading assumes motives. Take that one too. Let's go through the rest of the squares real quick. Make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. Not yet. Marginalize, marginalization. No. Plays victim. No, not really. Not yet. Equity. No. Word salad. Well, I'm going to circle word salad because already she's talking about love and this, that, and the other and not explaining herself. So it's kind of all over the place. Self-vilification or wretchedness. No. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase. Not yet. Feminism. No. Childhood or family anecdote. She's talked about her growing up and she's getting there. So, yeah, she talked about school and all. So click on that one. Benevolent condescension. I'm already feeling it, but I'll wait a little bit for maybe something more solid. Systemic institutional. No. Patriarchy. No. Contradicts own point or argument. I don't even know what her argument is yet. Toxic. No. Privilege. No. Weightless example. That House of Cards thing where she used family and friends as some kind of thin foundation for understanding relationships. That's already counting in my head, but I'll leave it for the moment. Leaves out vital context. Okay, I'm going to give her a chance to explain herself on love and relationships and what she means, but I virtually already circled that one. Microaggression and conscious bias, not yet, if at all. Takes credit for something, experience done by others, no. White supremacy, no. Wage gap, no. A list. Well, she did list off the 3 pillars of business relationships. So, yeah, I'll circle that one. Anecdote that probably never happened. She hasn't given us any anecdotes yet. Not really. Thank you, Gamer Valine. I don't hide behind a Muppet to hurt people. A few people in here are witness to my abuse. Behavior in comment areas. Okay. That's not creepy.
But that's like hoping to become a doctor by watching Grey's Anatomy.
Becoming a doctor and learning how relationships work are not the same thing. Also, whatever pattern you might see in people before you engage in your own relationships is one thing. But trust me, going through relationships teaches you, or hopefully does, what you need to know about relationships for yourself if you're being attentive and introspective. But okay, when do we get to the advice part?
So instead of like building a solid foundation, we kind of just wait or swipe until we find the right person.
Why do you put that in quotation marks? What are you talking about?
No wonder we feel so unprepared. That's exactly how I felt a couple of years ago. I thought I already met the right person. But
they were a psychopath?
I still didn't know how to be the right person.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm trying very hard to be sympathetic here. Okay. I have had this kind of struggle myself. Right? I've always thought until I have a handle on myself, I'm probably not going to be that good or that much good to anyone else. All right. Now, everybody's always learning about themselves. Nothing is static necessarily, and so on. Self-discovery is a lifelong journey, et cetera, et cetera. I get that. But just talking brass tacks, if I'm not at least relatively financially self-assured, emotionally self-assured, and mentally self-assured in some way, shape, or form. Those things that I would expect of and hope for from a partner before I even meet them, then I'm not living up to, the standards that I hold for myself, let alone anybody else. Because, and here's Scribelite's little one-page relationship book advice. You want to be in a situation, or I should say the most desirable situation to be in is where you want a relationship, not where you need a relationship. Where you are, for all intents and purposes, relatively self-assured, independent before you meet someone else, right? Like I'm self-sufficient in my job, in my finances, in my ability to take care of myself. Now I am okay taking in someone else into a relationship without feeling like I'm dependent on them. That, I think, is a relatively healthy outlook to have on it. So if that's what she's talking about, I can agree. But I don't know what she's talking about, and I'll be surprised if she tells us. Thank you, Dark Lyle. Every relationship will be different. You go in not knowing. Hopefully you also go in with the willingness and ability to learn about each other. Yes, you go in with whatever knowledge or wisdom you've picked up from other relationships, with the caveat that everybody's different, and hopefully you know what you want, and then you find out if what you want jives with what they want as time goes on. Anyway.
And that felt really scary.
Uh-huh.
So I started reading every single book and every piece of research that I could find about the science of relationships.
Uh-huh.
And even though that became my favorite activity.
Reading books on relationships became your favorite activity. So not making out with your significant other, I'll say, to play it safe? Really? Okay.
I tried to hide it for a long time.
Why? Because you're a dishonest, deceptive person? That doesn't sound good.
I thought it was too personal, controversial, and frankly too embarrassing to discuss with anyone.
I mean, it would be a little embarrassing to say, my favorite thing to do is read books on relationship dynamics. That'd be a little embarrassing, maybe. But everybody's a nerd at everything. But really? Doing research on relationships, controversial? Okay, everybody's got their own standards, I guess.
But then one day,
my
amazing big brother, Rodrigo, called me. And he asked,
yes.
Hey, is everything okay?
As brothers never do, I guess. And why was he asking this? Were you showing some signs of something not being okay? Like talking to your hand?
And I said, yeah, what's going on?
Wow, this is an enthralling phone conversation. I tell you what, man, I am on the edge of my seat.
Well, as it turns out, I forgot that Rodrigo and I share the same account on Amazon.
Uh-oh.
Which sometimes gets awkward.
Yeah, especially when you see him buying porn, right? Oh no, he saw you buying all the relationship books. And so he thought, what's wrong with you that you need all these relationship books? All right. Well, I got to say, between the whole dating process, finding a job process, and a shared Amazon account, our speaker really is a child of the modern day with very modern day problems.
And he was calling because he noticed a trend in my recent book orders.
Oh my God.
7 Principles for Making Marriage Work. Your Brain on Love. Mating in Captivity. Mating in Captivity.
I like the title. Let's see. For those of you at home, she's showing off book covers of apparently the books that she was ordering. Mating in Captivity. There's a quote on it. Quote, if sex in long-term relationships isn't a hot topic, it's because no one dares talk about it until now. Yeah, no one ever talks about sex in long-term relationships. It just doesn't happen. Never happens. It's never the butt of jokes or the subject of any number of movies or no, it just all right. Anyway.
And many, many other relationship books.
Okay, she just listed off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different book covers. With an alternate cover for Mating in Captivity. And of course, the way my brain works, I looked up at the top right corner cover, and for a second there, I thought I was looking at an overhead shot of handcuffs, which that isn't. Those are coffee cups, but because I was just glancing through. Anyway, all right, you're obsessed with relationships and dating and stuff. What's your relation, or maybe I should say, what was your relationship with your significant other at the time like?
Now, at the time, Rodrigo was also in business school.
Uh-huh.
So I told him,
Yes.
Listen,
Yes.
we're both getting an MBA because it's valuable.
Uh-huh.
It's not always been valuable.
An MBA has not always been valuable. When?
When they created the MBA 100 years ago, most people thought it was crazy that business was being elevated to the same level of expertise as law.
100 years ago. Okay.
Engineering.
Yeah, business being elevated to the same level as law and engineering. Right, because 100 years ago, being in business was not... I don't think that's true. Does that make an anecdote? I think that might make an anecdote. I'm going to... chat, I might need a lifeline on this one. When was the MBA created? And secondly, was it controversial that business as a practice was being elevated to the same place as law and engineering? Because that sounds a bit off to me. Kieverdam, yep, 1908 was the first MBA program was created. Okay, so over 100 years. Okay, all right. Was it controversial? Is there any evidence of that? I mean, she went to business school, so maybe this is something she learned. So, all right.
Now, it's the most popular graduate degree in the US.
So why bring up that it's not valuable? What does its value in the past, better, worse, or otherwise than engineering and law, have to do with right now? What does that mean?
We finally see value in business education.
From 100 years ago? Yeah, sure. What has that got to do with now?
And we have to do the same for relationships.
Oh, right. Because no one understands the value of relationships these days. Are you going to start a college course on how to be in a good relationship? I'm sure no one's ever thought of that before. Sorry. What was that long list of literature you were giving us just a minute ago?
Now, am I suggesting that we create a formal master's degree in love? No.
Then why bring it up? Why bring up the evolution of the MBA and then compare and contrast that to relationship knowledge and not suggest a master's degree in love? I mean, it'd be ridiculous, but why are we here?
But I am suggesting that we all start seeing ourselves as CEOs of our love lives.
Oh, for God's sakes.
And that means worrying less about finding the right person and more about becoming the right person.
Wow, this is so insightful. I don't know what to do. Oh my God. Such revelations overwhelm me.
We know from research that couples who thrive and couples who fail behave very differently.
Couples who thrive and couples who fail behave differently, you say? Really?
The patterns are so clear that Dr. John Gottman can predict whether a couple will stay together with up to 90% accuracy.
Oh, so if he screws up, he just calls it one of the 10%, huh? Wow. How do you measure his accuracy? Does he interview every couple that's ever existed or will ever exist? 90% accuracy. Based on what?
Just by observing a few minutes of how they interact.
Bullshit.
Yes, people are different and there's no one formula.
But if there's no one formula, then how is this guy able to predict with a 90% accuracy rate about the eventual success or failure of a relationship? I'd say he has a 90% accurate formula, wouldn't you say? Person who already brought this, you know what? Hell with this. First off, anecdote that never really happened. I smell a lot of BS going on here. Leaves out vital context. Circling that one. Holy cats. Benevolent condescension. I feel like I'm being talked down to in a very kind way. We all really need to learn about the importance of relationships. Really? Gosh, thanks, lady. Hadn't thought of that before. Okay. I don't see anything else right off the bat, so let's continue.
But there are patterns that we can all learn from.
Okay.
So I want to leave you with 3 takeaways that I think of as Love 101.
Oh, well, if I hadn't already circled a list, I'd be circling a list. And let's see, who was that? Evil Ferret. Hey, Scribe, just popping in to give you a like. Well, thank you, Ferret, if you're still listening after you popped in. I didn't miss you. Thank you. Some emulation says contradicts own point. You're correct. You are correct. The whole, there's no formula. Here's a 90% predictor guy. All right. Got that one too. Continuing.
These are just a few of many things that I wish we all learned in school.
Oh, now we finally get to the school part. Okay, great. I'm dying to find out. Thank you, John Miller. Great. Another self-help guru, ... pass. I suppose, except she's not, so far she hasn't promoted a book of her own, and she's not apparently promoting a master's degree of which she is the professor in relationships and or love. So, okay. Tell me what we need to be learning in school. The 3 things we need to be learning in school, and please do tell me, at what grade level should we start teaching these things?
And talked about more.
Uh-huh.
Much more.
Mm-hmm.
There are also great things to consider before you go on Tinder.
I have never used Tinder for anything. Before I go on Tinder, that's the standard we're working with? Okay, tell me the 3 things I should know that I should learn in school before I go on Tinder.
Number 1, choose to see love as a skill.
Oh, I choose to see love as a skill. I mean, I've got a whole book telling me how to be more skillful at love. It involves some, implements, but sure, okay, love is a skill.
By far, the most important thing I've learned from this journey is that love is something far more demanding and far more rewarding than what we see in Hollywood.
Well, you know why that is? Because Hollywood is fiction. I don't know if you know that. And Hollywood TV movies, that was just one of the foundational cards of your house of cards. Why don't you talk about like actual people and relationships? How about relationships that have nothing to do with romance that might teach you something about relationships in general? You gonna go there? Maybe? I don't know. Mr. Tickletruck, thank you so much. Brought to you by TEDx Talks, dropping the value of MBAs for years to come. Yes. Or at least giving us a showcase of failures to educate with certain speakers. And thank you again, Gamer Valine. Will they murder me is a key one, right, Nancy? Will they murder me? If we're talking about Tinder quality, then you would think so, but I really hope Nancy makes another appearance before the end of the stream. I really do. I'm missing Nancy already.
Love is not just an emotion.
Oh.
It's a skill that we can choose to learn, practice, and master over time.
Master. Oh, I thought there was another syllable coming after that. Pardon me.
Like learning a foreign language.
Oh, like French kissing? Uh-huh.
And as a non-native speaker myself,
Uh-huh.
I can tell you that I still struggle with English.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes a lot.
Well, you sound fine to me.
And I also still struggle with my relationships.
I am not at all surprised.
Sometimes a lot.
I am not at all surprised.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Like any other skill, love is not easy and will never be perfect.
Who are you trying to convince in that statement?
But choosing to see it as a skill
Uh-huh.
is the first step to getting better.
Oh, getting better. Oh, okay. All right. So it's all right. I'm getting better. All right.
Number 2, choose generosity over judgment.
Choose generosity over judgment. Oh, okay. I'm pondering that for a moment. Tell me more.
If you've been the parent of a child or a puppy,
If I've been the parent of a child or a puppy, those situations are synonymous to you in this example. Okay, lowest common denominator territory. Proceed.
you know what it feels like to see really unpleasant behavior with generosity, not judgment. You understand that they're still growing up.
Well,
But if our partner does something that we don't like, we get offended, we judge. They should be fully grown up by now.
yeah, okay. I'm being very, 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 very generous here. Sure. If someone is literally incapable of living up to the standards you would expect of a full-grown adult or human being, then yes, you have to make certain allowances if you're a reasonable person towards your expectations of that person or animal. But yes, if you are dating someone and they are not behaving in a way that is commensurate to your version of maturity, either as an adult or in a relationship, that may be a showstopper. Yes. Okay. So why is that something? I understand the mentality towards a baby, let's say, and not towards a full-grown adult. All right. So what has that got to do with the relationship with a full-grown adult? Thank you, the Redneck Ram. I've been the owner of a puppy, but never a parent. If a puppy is born to my seed, I'm running for the hills. That sounds like the initiating steps of a horror movie right there. A little Island of Dr. Moreau, perhaps. Or maybe like, in your case, the backwoods of Dr. Moreau? I don't know.
But as long as we are alive, we're all still growing up. On top of that, we know from research that on average, 2/3 of all relationship problems are actually not solvable.
Okay, okay, all right. That was me rubbing my face in my hands and trying to reset my brain. For those of you at home, thank you, Pepperjack. We have a pie chart in front of us right now that says perpetual problems, not solvable, and solvable problems. And though we are not given any numbers, it's effectively 1/4 of problems are solvable and 3/4 are not. All relationship problems, healthy couple. So a healthy couple has 3/4 non-solvable problems with one another. That is a very depressing outlook, if true. Thank you, Bacall the Driving Ape Man, for your penance. Thank you. I'll need to do a lot of cleansing here after this. Is that okay? And I'll be honest. Unlike everything I've said prior to this, right? my longest term relationship, well, I had two that kind of lasted about the same amount of time, about a year and a half. I haven't had really like long-term married couple type relationships. So I'm probably talking from a place, obviously, of lack of knowledge. But I'm not sure that those relationships, which obviously did fail for various reasons, I don't think those had 3/4 unsolvable problems. There was just one unsolvable problem, at least in one case, and that was her starting a relationship with my best friend and not telling me about it until after she broke up with me. That was the problem. And all the problems that she never mentioned, I suppose. But anyway, okay, tell me more about how a healthy couple has 3/4 unsolvable problems.
Even in healthy couples. So the key is not hoping for less conflict, but focusing on practicing more generosity even during conflict.
That sounds like just putting up with it. Like, I recognize that the majority of our relationship is comprised of unsolvable conflicts. So I'm going to be, quote unquote, generous by tolerating it? Because that's what that sounds like. I wonder if that's what she means, because that's what it sounds like she means.
It's so easy to see the wonderful things about our partner.
Uh-huh.
But the true love skill is seeing what's not so wonderful about them with generosity, not judgment.
If I could ask our speaker a question or two right now, I'd ask, do you ever think that in your relationships you end up settling? Like settling for things that don't make you happy just to maintain the relationship? That maintaining the relationship... Thanks a lot, Pepperjack. Maintaining the relationship takes preeminence over your personal happiness. You ever find yourself in that situation? I've known some people who have done that to themselves, to their detriment and ultimately to mine. Does that ever occur to you?
Number 3.
Uh-huh.
Choose to become an expert on your partner.
Choose to be an expert on your partner. Okay, well, how much digging through their browser history are you going to do? How much trust do you extend to your partner that they're being honest with you? That you don't have to excavate everything about them? What do you mean by becoming an expert on your partner?
I used to find it romantic to say things like, I know everything about my boyfriend.
You used to find it romantic to say things like, okay. All right. Thank you, John Miller. She seems to lack the most critical tool for relationships, communication. I mean, okay. She's willing to put up with 3/4 of her relationship being unsolvable problems. She has done extensive, almost, I'd say, obsessive research on healthy relationships. And now she's saying she needs to be an expert on her partner. I have to suspect that our speaker has really, really been through the ringer in past relationships when it comes to trust and communication, to the point where she may indeed be psychically scarred from past relationships and is so scared of intimacy that she has to take all these steps to try to reassure herself before getting involved with someone. Now, admittedly, I don't know what our speaker's relationship status is at this point. I don't know what her history is. This is me just sort of, supposing. Because what else do I have to go on since she won't give us any details? But
I realize that it's even more romantic to think about how much more there is to discover.
Well, yes, one might say, and I know I must be very, very creative and unique in saying this, since we are, each of us, on our own journey of discovery in life, to come upon someone that you get along with enough that you want to join them in that journey together, why, mayhaps you both discover new things about yourselves and each other as you continue onward on this path. And that makes a strong and healthy relationship, conceivably. Or I could just be talking out of my rear end. I don't know.
And that's because to have a great relationship,
Uh-huh.
we need so much detailed knowledge about the other person.
Yeah, but that's knowledge that you gain over time and working with one another. Because, truth be told, there's probably a lot of things about your partner that they don't know about themselves until put to the test in a relationship. Because behaving and operating by yourself is a lot different than behaving and operating in a relationship. So, Mr. Tickletruck, thanks so much. If you're interested in someone, you will become an expert even if you try not to. It just happens by spending time with someone. Well, again, admittedly, so long as the other person is being honest with you and communicative to you about what they like, what they don't, who they are, and so on. It's been the sad fact, and I've seen it happen, and I've experienced it myself, that I've become an expert on the person I thought they were, if you know what I mean. So it is a give and take. It really is.
From what they want in their coffee to what they want in their legacy.
Sure.
That's really hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's possible if we take on the mindset of a curious expert who never stops learning.
Yeah, okay. My mind is losing steam on this one, guys.
We know from neuroscience that the brains of couples who report to be madly in love after over 20 years can still light up in similar ways as couples who just recently met.
Really? Couples that are madly in love 20 years on have the same kind of reactions to a couple that are still in the puppy love phase? Really? You don't say.
Couples who stay in love are couples who stay curious. Every day, they commit to learning about each other, like an expert. They never assume they know everything.
But you just said become an expert about your partner. So how can I become an expert in something if I don't then assume that I know everything about that thing? What? Thank you, Bincalo. Any bets she's a taker? Oh boy. Oh boy. Thank you, Dragon Mage. She seems clinging and obsessive with boyfriends. I would give her a wide berth if I came across her, just in general, Tinder or otherwise. Plus,
if you're always discovering a new side of your partner,
then you're never an expert, are you? I mean, if I hadn't already circled contradicts own point or argument, I would be, because you just said you need to become an expert in your partner, but then you just admitted that happier couples don't know everything about their partners because they continue to discover things about their partners because they don't stop being curious. So just...
then maybe the honeymoon can be more than just a phase. Now, the important part is not just understanding love 101. It's committing to a lifelong practice.
Thank you, Saxon Ross. I, too, am holding off for finding love that's more complex than a presentation that begins and ends with Tinder. Are you? Really? Boy, you got... Man, those are some pretty high standards. I don't know. I think you snob you.
Sometimes that's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
But it's often through the difficult times that we get to test our beliefs and our resolve to them.
Okay.
And I experienced that recently when I ended a special long-term relationship.
Wait, did she say ended or entered? Sorry, I got to back up. Somebody's mowing their lawn outside and I got some background noise here. I hope it's not bothering you guys. Okay, so what was it? You entered or ended?
And our resolve to them. And I experienced that recently when I ended a special long-term relationship.
When you ended a special long-term relationship. Okay. Well, if it was special and long... Okay, you got my curiosity.
which was very difficult.
Yeah.
But it gave me even more conviction about what I think is so important about learning to love.
Well, why did you end it? What happened? Which of the pillars faltered in this thing? If you were reading all those relationship books up until recently, how did you fail? Oh man, that noise is bothering me. I don't know if it's bothering you. Apologize, guys. Have no control over that one.
But Nancy
Oh, Nancy! Oh, Nancy's back!
did not agree.
Oh! Yay! Nancy's back! Oh, Nancy! Tell me, Nancy. All right.
Nancy did not agree.
Yeah.
Renato, aren't you ashamed? You basically failed Love 101.
Well, aren't you? I mean, you're standing on a proverbial stage trying to educate us on the correct way to handle relationships, and yet you can't even handle your own. So, is there no shame?
And frankly, I did spend a few days listening to Nancy.
A few days? I'm imagining her sitting alone on her couch in her apartment, in the comfiest pajamas she has, her hair all askew, empty pizza boxes all around, sitting there with one hand on a spoon and a little cup of ice cream between her legs, and her other hand up, opening and closing by the thumb, silently as she stares at it and mindlessly eats ice cream. As Nancy and she have a days-long discussion with one another. That sounds healthy.
And to Ariana Grande's breakup anthem. But during my breakup breakdown, I had a breakthrough. Love 101 is about taking radical responsibility for learning the skills that make us better in any relationship. So breaking up was not like failing Love 101. It was actually another chance to practice it. And that's because we can always choose to see love as a skill, whether it's in the beginning, the middle, or the end of any relationship.
Okay. Now, again, I'm being very generous. There is something to be said for trying to make lemonade out of lemons in life. All right. I think we can all agree on that. If I started out a TEDx with a softball question like that, I say, hey, have you ever done your best to make lemonade out of life's lemons? You know, and everybody raises their hands. Okay. We've all done that. And it is an admirable trait, I suppose. But if you just broke up with a really long-term special relationship and you sat around for days talking to your hand, I don't think you're in a position to lecture anybody else on what is or is not the correct or efficient way to proceed through a loving relationship. I'm sorry. Just no. Just no.
We can always choose generosity over judgment. And not only when things are going well, but especially during the difficult times. And we can always choose to become an expert on the other person.
So wait, this list, this Love 101, number 1, choose to see love as a skill. 2, choose to generosity over judgment. 3, choose to be an expert on your partner. This isn't advice for us. This is your coping mechanism. This is you're trying to rationalize everything after the fact, after a failure of a relationship, to make yourself feel better, to try to move past the grief. That's what this is. And I'm not asking a question. I'm just stating it as a fact. This is her coping mechanism. This is how she's decided to compartmentalize the aftermath of her relationship and turn it into something she's going to tell us is a lesson, but what is actually for her a rationalization. Got it.
And use that expertise to better understand ourselves. Because that's the one relationship that we all get to cultivate and to enjoy every single day of our lives. Like any other important skill that we learn in school, learning to love is our right.
What?
It's our responsibility.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity that we cannot afford to waste. Thank you.
Oh. Okay. Well, I had imagined this was going to be something very different than what we got. I thought we were going to be listening to an educator telling us about helping students with relationships. But hey, TEDx is sometimes an unfathomable mystery, even in its seemingly plain descriptions. So thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk. I'm so glad we got to learn about love by someone as deep as a puddle, and probably had enough relationships to count on a single finger. I think Nancy needs her own YouTube channel. I'm not kidding. I think if it was the Renata and Nancy show, it'd be a winner of boundless entertainment. But regardless, let's move on to the bingo card for one more round here. Make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. Nope, she never brought that stuff up. Marginalize marginalization. Nope. Plays victim. Okay, now this one might be a little controversial, but I am going to circle that one because whether she's admitting to it or not, she's putting herself as the victim of her own bad choices. She's trying to put on a brave face, but yeah. Equity, no. Self-vilification or wretchedness. Okay, now I know this might sound contradictory, but in that same vein, all of this was an attempt to build herself up. So she was not vilifying herself and she was not wretchifying herself. It could be argued that her role in the relationship or relationships she was talking about, she was the villain. However, she never gave us enough information to say otherwise. She might have ended her recent relationship for very good reason. We don't know. She never said. So I don't have any way of assessing that one. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase. I mean, no. And just talking to your hand and giving it a name, while novel, or maybe not so much, that doesn't count. But I mean, I'll take arguments if I miss something in there, but I don't think she ever did this is something I like to call or whatever. I mean, she showed diagrams, here's the foundation, that kind of thing, but that wasn't something new or a buzz phrase. That was just a visual aid. Systemic institutional. I mean, she talked about Stanford, but that's not dealing with the subject matter like that. So patriarchy, no. She actually never really said anything terrible about men specifically. Toxic, no. Privilege, no. Weightless example. Her House of Cards thing where she says parents and friends relationships constitute a thin and weak foundation for examples in relationships. Yeah, no, that doesn't fly at all. It really doesn't. If she only said television and movies did, then sure, because those are fiction and those are, not real. But then to say the examples of those people around you that you've grown up with as lessons for relationship advice are part of a house of cards? No, I'm sorry. I don't buy that. Microaggressions, unconscious bias. I mean, if I was being really stretchy on this one, I could say something about unconscious bias and the reflexes in relationships she was talking about, but I'd be really stretching there. Thank you, Gamer Valine. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. Well, I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, did we learn nothing, or can we look at this example as sort of a human Jerry Springer episode and take some kind of comfort, hopefully, in that we are not operating on the same level of insecurity and overcompensation intellectually as she has? I mean, maybe there's something to be gained there. Maybe that's the thinnest of silver linings. Perhaps I'm making lemonade out of lemons. We'll see. Okay. Takes credit for something done, experienced for by others in their demographic. No, that never came up. White supremacy, no. Wage gap, no. She never talked economics. I mean, not any further than education, but that wasn't in reference to economy or earnings. So All right. So my bingo card is where it is at. Let me move that over to the right window here so you can see it as well. That's what I've got it right now, guys. I will take arguments for any other squares to be circled, and then we'll wrap this up relatively quickly compared to others. Some ammunition. Network quote. Network quote? I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore? What? Let's see. Some emulation. Well, that quote wasn't from Network. That was from Billy Madison, as far as I know, if I'm not mistaken. N. Hill. No, they spend money to be noticed by Scribe. I noticed you, N. You didn't spend any money. I'll notice you more if you want. Free of charge. Thank you, Gamer Valine. That was a quote from Billy Madison. Yes. See, I'm not dumb. Let's see. That one started as Tania. As Annalyn pointed out earlier, her CEO or relationship or whatever is a buzzword. Oh, CEO of your own relationship? I don't know. She only said that once, but... Wait, no, she did say, I like to call, or, yeah. Become an expert on your partner. Okay. All right. You know what? All right. You got me. But between those two in the aggregate, all right. Attempt to coin new buzzword buzz phrase. I'll circle that one. All right. That doesn't get us to a bingo because at no point did she bring up wage gap. So, and I can't think of anything that would convince me otherwise, but I'll give you that one. Let's see, Mr. Tickle Trunk. I love this channel. Are you sure you love it? Are you an expert on it? Have you watched every video? I don't know if you can say that you love this channel till you've watched every video. I'm just saying. Thank you, Blind Press. Very late, but showing some love anyway. Love, you say? Why, that was the whole subject of the conversation, Blind Press. I learned a lot about love today. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Rick Ashbringer. I was just wondering if these TEDx's are events people pay to attend, and I wonder why anyone would. I believe the ones that you see where there's like an audience in a theater and such, yeah, they pay to attend that. It's probably a very small admission price, that kind of thing. As far as these, filmed at home kind of things, I'm not sure how those work because I've seen recently, especially with the pandemic, several events where you have a lot of speakers, but obviously no audience because they all have the same backdrop and that kind of thing. So I'm not sure how it works, but as far as I can tell for the open and public ones, there's probably some kind of entrance fee, although it probably only covers the costs of the space and technical stuff and not much profit to be made from it, so far as I know. Assassin the Gray, Scribelight, I guarantee this woman, quote, turns her nose up, unquote, at any man under 6 feet tall and less than a high mid 6-figure salary. It's possible. It's possible. But, who knows? Maybe she's going to go looking for something different now that her long-term relationship failed. Oh, sorry. She failed her long-term relationship. Mr. Dax, Scribelight is now Scribe Loves. Oh, Scribe Loves. Yeah, if I start an advice column, like if I start doing advice column stuff here on YouTube, I'll call it I'll call that series Scribe Loves. There you go. Thank you, Mr. Dax. I'm stealing that now. And thank you again, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Yes, I've watched every video. Okay. You bring me joy, but I wish you did 2 of these if the video is under 15 minutes. This one was 14 minutes long. I tried to do the double feature one once, and it just didn't. I was exhausted. They were 2 relatively short TEDx's, I think, or something like that, or 2 short videos. And I think a more focused single subject one makes the difference. Now, of course, saying that, I have been toying with the idea of doing a short takes video because I've got a few like very small, like 2 to 4 minute little promo presentation things from various speakers from various places, not TEDx's, that I was thinking about doing in succession on a single stream. I might experiment with that very soon. But yeah, as far as like doing 2 TEDx's at once or something, like no. This is Kyle. Thanks so much. Hey, I send money to Scribe so everyone can notice me because I have deep-seated self-esteem issues and need constant validation. Well, thanks for brightening the channel there, Kyle. Appreciate it so much. No, seriously, thanks so much. And if that is true, you don't need to send me money to get validation, Kyle. You just have to say hello. It's fine. I'll say hello back as much as I can. And thank you, Gamer Valine. Here, have more money for capitalism. I'll seek attention on Twitter later. Jesus. You guys are being very, very generous today. So much so that, as in the past, I'm going to make a donation elsewise after this. And for any verification necessities, I'll prove that on Twitter shortly because you guys have been ridiculously generous, and I really do appreciate it. N Hill, sure, I have no objection to Stripe getting money. As far as YouTubers go, he's very good, and I agree with his opinions. But I'm also known troll, so it is what it is. Look what I started. Everyone, I want you to take a minute and give N Hill thanks. Thanks for coming to the show. Thanks for adding to it. Free of charge. You know. If you guys don't already know, I'm coming up here on Sunday on my 4th YouTube anniversary. I'll be doing an Ask Me Anything stream. If you'd like to post a question for that stream, there is an announcement video on my channel right now that just says Scribe's 4th anniversary announcement. Post your question if you have one to the comments section there. And in that same vein, as with N Hill and so many of the rest of you and all of you, I appreciate all of you. And everything that you've brought to my life collectively and individually over the last 4 years. I'll go more in depth into that in the Ask Me Anything stream, where I'll get far more sentimental and sappy than I am being here. But just know that I really do appreciate it. And I'm glad I can add something to your lives, whatever that may be, however you may take it. Because love, as we know, is a mini splendored thing. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. We didn't get any bingos, but sometimes it's the journey and not the prize that counts. If you'd like to hear more from me or the Ranting Monkey or Satsu 2 Cents, you can find all three of us tonight on the Ranting Monkeys channel at a special time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, because we're going to do a pregame show for debate night with the vice presidential candidates on the Lords of the Night. So we'll look forward to seeing you there. We're going to do a live commentary as we watch the vice presidential debate commence. So be there early to get synced up with us for the commentary. Hopefully it'll be fun for those of you who are political junkies like Monkey and I. Satsu is just going to have to love or lump it, as it were. Ha, love. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for showing up today. Thank you so much for your participation, even if you are just N Hill. Thank you guys so much for your generosity. I will be paying it forward here in just a few minutes. I hope you all have a good rest of your day. I hope you are all safe and well. And if you're not well, please get well soon. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.